your recipe?
Recipe.
Recipe. Yeah.
He's gonna,
For the
He's
next
doing.
step.
but recipe is not enough. You have to know how to cook.
Yes. Okay.
Later,
I can try.
Literally.
because it's more. It's
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
No,
Hare.
ya está por empezar. Vamos a empezar.
Yes, Brahminical culture. Topic today is Brahminical culture. What is Brahminical culture?
De acá para allá no pasa mucho.
El culturo de los brahmanas.
La cultura
La cultura. Cultura
de los brahmanas.
de los brahmanas. Ahora, esta clase
Ajá.
es el cultura de los brahmanas. Do you know what I just said? El cultura
La
de los
cultura.
brahmanas. De los brahmanas. You can guess what that means. So, we're continuing with the class on the culture of Brahmins, and I can review some things we spoke about last week. You want to sit? I'll review some things we spoke about last week, and I want to read some things the Prophet has written. And when you talk about the qualities of a Brahmin, or even if you're going to talk about the qualities of a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or Shudra, then you're talking obviously about qualities. So Prabhupada talks a lot about qualities of a devotee. Those qualities are usually what we could consider Brahminical qualities also. There's an overlap in it. And the idea of talking about Brahminical culture, what it means to be a Brahmin, is that we're being initiated as Brahmins. So we want to understand more what it means to be a Brahmin personally, and we also want to understand the culture. What is Brahminical culture? What does that look like? Like you have American culture, we're in Argentina, you have Argentinian culture, you have Mexican culture, whatever. What does Brahminical culture look like? Because we're trying to be Brahmins, we need to know what the culture looks like, right? This morning we were reading the Bhagavatam. I believe it's the first canto, second chapter, text 18. Tada rajas tamo bhava. And tada means at that time. So at that time means what time? The time that you become fixed in devotional service. At that time, rajas, tamo, then rajas and tamo, ignorance and passion, they go away. Tada rajas tamo bhava, bhava. When they go away, what goes with them? Kama, lobha, dayas, chaya. Tada, at that time. Tada means now. Now that you've come, ahora, aquí, venga aquí, venemos aquí. We've all come here to Krishna consciousness. Ahora, sin loba, sin kama. I have to speak half Spanish. Sin loba, sin kama, sin no maya, no greed, no lust. So it's like, you could think of the modes of nature like a store, and every store sells specific products. Unless it's Walmart, it sells everything. But even in Walmart, you could think of it as a section. But I think an example of a store is better. So the store, we need to go to this store to get certain things for the home, this store for certain things for the kitchen, this store certain things for the bedroom, this store is for shoes, this store is. So the modes of nature have their own qualities, and the mode of passion is exemplified by lust. greed, hankering, mas. I need more. The mode of goodness is signified by an absence of everything in passion and ignorance. When you go to the mode of goodness store, they don't have things from the passion store or the ignorance store. It's only mode of goodness store. Like you go to a health food store. Health, sun. Health is what? Sun.
¿Sentido?
No, health.
Salud.
Salud. You go to the store, health food store. Everything is healthy. So when you go to the mode of goodness store, everything's healthy. Yes? So there's no lust. So what you read the ingredients in the mode of goodness store, and in the ingredients it says made without lust, no added lust, no added greed, no added hankering. Right? And then mode of ignorance, no added lamentation, no added laziness, no added madness, like that. So the idea is, with this verse, Tada Rajastamo Bhava, the idea is, a Brahman is in goodness. And so how do you know you're in goodness? Because there's no lust, there's no anger, there's no greed. That's how you know. There's no added ingredients. It's pure, puro. Puro. Devoción, puro. Servicio de la devoción, puro. No más otras cosas mal. Solamente puro. So that's goodness. Right? So a Brahman is in goodness. So when you become a Brahman, that means no lust, no passion, no ignorance. That's what it means to be a Brahman. So then how do you know you're a Brahman? Well, when there's no passion and ignorance, you start to manifest other qualities. And we talked about some of those qualities last time, but the qualities of goodness are all the good qualities, and passion and ignorance are all the bad qualities. So the way the Bhagavatam is describing it is, if you just get rid of ignorance and you just get rid of passion, then you're only left with goodness. So you're also naturally the good qualities, which were being covered by passion and ignorance, now they manifest. And so you know you're coming to goodness by the manifestation of good qualities. Yes, I want to read something. This is from Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 18, text 12. All living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore, when they revive their original Krishna consciousness, they possess all the good qualities of Krishna in a small quantity. So Prabhupada's saying, you and I have the qualities of Krishna in minute quantity, very small quantity, but we have Krishna's qualities. So when we become Krishna conscious, automatically those qualities manifest. When one engages in devotional service in the 9 processes, one's heart becomes purified and he immediately understands his relationship with Krishna. He then revives his original quality of Krishna consciousness. So, the point that Prabhupada's making here is that you don't really develop good qualities, you have them. You don't, it's not like you have to work on them, you just have to uncover them. Right? You have them. And sometimes Prabhupada would say, how do you know you're advancing in devotional service? He would say, because you can see your good qualities developing. That's how you know. Or if you're being, like, how do you know you're healthy? Because you have energy. If you're healthy, you have energy. You feel good. So if I ask you, are you healthy? You can say yes or no. No, I have a headache. No, I don't have energy. The Prabhupada said in the same way, you can evaluate your Krishna consciousness by the development of good qualities. Because that happens in the mode of goodness as you're no longer covered by passion and ignorance. They just come out. Because they're already there. Right? So if they're not coming out, it means too much passion and ignorance. Yes? If they're coming out, it means that it's the awakening of goodness. And so every varna has qualities according to the modes of nature. So the Kshatriyas are passion, goodness and passion. Vaishyas are passion. Shudras are ignorant. Like that. Or Vaishyas. Kshatriyas passion and ignorance, I think, for Vaishyas. Ignorance for Shudras. Maybe pure passion for Kshatriyas. But there are qualities that accompany. So that way you understand where you're situated. And so everything good we possess. I want to read something else. This is from Bhagavad Gita, and it lists qualifications of a devotee. In the purport, we may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualifications of a devotee. But this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Harav abhaktasya kuto mahad gunaha. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them. So this morning we were saying that sometimes you'll see a devotee exhibit amazingly good qualities, and sometimes it's difficult to understand the depth of his compassion, or the depth of his tolerance, the depth of his kindness. It almost would look like he's being abused by others, but those qualities are so strong that it's not typical of ordinary tolerance, ordinary compassion. And those are qualities that just naturally come out in a pure state. And it's almost like the devotee can't control himself. It's just the way he is. You know, Prabhupada sacrificed so much. For us, he traveled the world, even though he wasn't well. And you really couldn't stop him. And if you tried to stop him, he wouldn't stop. Because the compassion was pushing him. That Prabhupada had all this energy. It wasn't coming from his body. It was coming from his compassion. So it's coming from his desire to help people. And that nobody can control, because that's the purified nature of the soul. So, when Prabhupada initiated us as Brahmins, the basic idea was that now we're situated in the mode of goodness. And in the mode of goodness, it becomes steady. Because in passion, you're controlled by lust. So you can't be steady. But in goodness, you're steady. because there's very little lust within you. And then when you're steady, then Prabhupada said, now you can be initiated as a Brahmin. We were saying the other night when we gave initiation, we were explaining something I've explained before, that traditionally in Vaishnavism, when you were given initiation, you were given the holy name and you were also given Gayatri at the same time. That completed the initiation. It was one initiation, not two. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur began bringing Krishna consciousness to people outside Brahminical culture. So when it was given within Brahminical culture, the people that were taking Diksha were qualified. They're already in goodness. So the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur divided initiation into two. And the idea was that at first initiation we give a chance, and then you have the chance to come to goodness. And when you come to goodness, then you get second initiation. Right? So Prabhupada said, then first initiation will be lenient. We'll give it more easily. But second initiation will be more strict. Not so easy. Sukundo Diksha no es fácil. Para los devotos puro. No por todo el mundo. Por todo el mundo, primero Diksha. And as you know, Prabhupada would give, in the early days, give Diksha within a few days, a few weeks. Anyone who was willing to practice, okay, you're willing to practice, you get Diksha. It's like you join the school. We admit you in the school. You want to learn, come and become part of the school. Like that. Okay, so we'll give you a chance. And if you do well, then we'll graduate you. And that graduation is Brahminical initiation. That was the idea. So the idea is that now you've shown yourself from your first initiation that you've come to the mode of goodness. And if you come to goodness, then we can initiate you as a Brahmin, because the quality of the Brahmins are all qualities of goodness. And so you can't be impassioned and be a Brahmin. And it's said even that if you're in passion and you're a Brahmin and you chant Gayatri mantra, that the Gayatri mantra will not be effective if you're in passion, if your life is in passion. Like the holy names for everybody, but Gayatri mantras are for people in goodness, and they won't. Holy name works on everybody, but Gayatri won't work if you're not in goodness. It counteracts the power of it. So, I wanted to read some other things. This is a nice quote. This is from the Chaitanya. This is from Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, text 12. In the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8, there is a description of some of the qualities of devotees. For example, Sri Pandit Haridas is described as being very well behaved. Like we say gentleman.
Caballero. Caballero.
Caballero. Gentleman. Tolerant. Peaceful. Magnanimous and grave. In addition, he spoke very sweetly. His endeavors were very pleasing. He was always patient. He respected everyone. He always worked for everyone's benefit. His mind was free of duplicity, and he was completely devoid of all malicious activities. These are all originally qualities of Krishna, and when one becomes a devotee, they automatically become manifest. So here, again, Prabhupada saying the qualities are there. As you become purified of the modes of nature, the qualities manifest. So, like we say tamagun, the mode of darkness, and literally it is dark. It covers the light of your Krishna consciousness, and there's more light and passion. Passion is lighter. And then the full light is in goodness. So Prabhupada's saying the same thing, that these are all originally qualities of Krishna. And when one becomes a devotee, they automatically become manifest. So again, that same point is, we have to see, as Prabhupada said, we have to see, are these qualities manifest? That's a sign of health. And then, if they are manifesting, then we know we're advancing. If they're not manifesting, then we're being somewhat attacked by the modes of nature. And if we're feeling attacked by the modes of nature, then we should do something to purify ourselves, to uplift ourselves. So one of the experiences that I've had over the years as a devotee is that, of course, we're surrounded by the mode of passion. We live in cities, passion and ignorance. So cities are said to be in passion, but in Kali Yuga, there's plenty of ignorance in the cities as well. Or within certain parts of the cities, there's more ignorance. But generally it's passion compared to the country, which is goodness. And so, even though we live in the city, because we have our sadhana every day, that sadhana keeps us somewhat transcendental to the influence of the city. But if the sadhana isn't good, then we're more influenced by the environment. So most of us live in the cities, and the cities are very passionate. And so if we do sufficient sadhana sufficiently, which means quality and sufficient time, sufficient quality and sufficient time, we will feel very well established in goodness. And then the influence of the city and all those modes of nature, we will either not feel it or not feel it very much. The mode of goodness is so clean, and the mode of passion is so dirty, that if you have enough mode of goodness, then the mode of passion won't be attractive. And so part of the problem is when you're in passion, passion becomes attractive. When you're in goodness, goodness becomes attractive. So if you have a good morning program, it keeps you in goodness. And that goodness means you won't be so attracted by passion. You won't have a taste for it. So without that goodness, then the passion becomes attractive. And then we live in an environment of passion. And so we become attracted by lust and greed and so forth. So the more you have goodness, the more passion and ignorance are not attractive. The more you have passion, the less attractive goodness is. So then, like sometimes we have a lot of passion in our lives. So when we try to chant japa, we can't. We just can't sit and chant because the mind is not peaceful. It's all the passion we're surrounded by, right? And so if we don't have good japa, then and a good morning program, then basically it's passion. Just passion, passion, passion. And then passionate activities become attractive. And if they're attractive, then we do them. Or worse, ignorant activities. You know, I heard this amazing thing that one of my godbrothers said. I forget exactly the context, but the gist of it was that Prabhupada said, of all activities that can contaminate us, sleeping is the worst. Sleeping is the most contaminated. My understanding, I would have to hear it again, but my understanding was more than any sinful activity or any activity that contaminates us, sleeping. And sleeping is, oversleeping means tamaguna. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So, you probably experienced that sometimes you don't need to sleep very much, and sometimes you need to sleep a lot. And you kind of sense it's your mind you think it's your body, but you know it's kind of your mind. And so as we're as we're in tamaguna, we'll sleep more. It becomes more attractive. Also, you'll find very passionate people don't sleep a lot. Very, very motivated people, they sleep less. So if you're too heavily influenced by tamagun, then the tamagun becomes attractive. You live in a messy house, you sleep a lot, and it's just like, that feels good. You have to walk over your clothes and things, and to find your things. They're all piled up in the corner. So for you to just get your laundry and throw it in the corner feels better than to iron it, hang it up, right? And you're in the mode of goodness and everything is well organized. And if you come into a messy room, it bothers you. Right? So in the same way, if you have a good morning program, then goodness will become attractive, and passion will bother you. You won't be attractive. Okay. So now we have a comment on sleep. Or this is a generalization, and let's see if we can figure out what this is. It seems the impetus for second initiation in ISKCON is, and I can't read the rest of it, but I think you're going to say to worship the deities. That's part of it. But not the only part. The idea is if you're actually situated in goodness and you have brahminical qualities, then you should get second initiation. If you don't have to. Then Prem Kishore says, if you don't get enough sleep, you get put in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, that's why Krishna says, don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. But I think part of it is you might, he's saying social status. That may be you want to get brahminical initiation because then you've been a devotee a while and you should have it. So there's some but if that's the reason you take it, then it's counterproductive. Everyone's a Brahmin. Everyone who joined with me is a Brahmin, so I should take it if you're qualified, yeah. But why take it if you're not? So regarding sleep, I think one of the points here is that we all have different bodies, we all have different diets, we all have different minds. So some of us can sleep less, some of us sleep more. But if you require to sleep and you think, oh, I have to sleep, I don't want to, I'd rather stay up and do devotional service, then you're not being so as influenced by ignorance as someone who says, like I did the other night, I can't wait to go to sleep because I was so tired. And it was late, about 11:15. And I was being influenced by the modes of the late night. So I said, yeah, I can't wait to go. Of course I was joking. But fortunately I still got up early. But if we don't like sleeping, even though we have to do it, we're not attracted, that's the point. And ignorance, then we'll think, if I have some time free on Sunday, then I'll sleep as much as possible. Prabhupada really didn't like sleep, but it's also because it's an effect of ignorance. So Prabhupada always pushed us to get up early even when we went to bed late, because that's the mode of goodness. And so Prabhupada was very careful in training us that we would be situated in goodness. So all this training, rise early, chant, bathe, do Mangalarti, clean clothes every day, wash your hands before you eat, wash your hands after you eat, all this stuff. That's all mode of goodness. That's Brahminical culture. Brahminical culture, you don't even bring your plates in the kitchen. You have another sink. Your bathrooms aren't in the house; they're outside. There's a Brahminical way of living. Some devotees, if they're building homes, they'll build two sinks, one for their dishes, one for the deities, and their own dish. The sink for their own dish will be right outside the kitchen. You won't have trash inside the kitchen. Only trash related with cooking, not trash related with other things, with eating. So that's part of that culture, studying Shastra. It's an important aspect of Brahminical culture, but the mode of goodness is important. It's important to cultivate. Because if we're not cultivating goodness, then we're being influenced by passion. And if we're influenced by passion, it's just passion is further away from Krishna than goodness. Yeah. And then you'll see, I'm sure you've all seen this, sometimes you'll meet somebody, they're not a devotee, but you can tell they're more in the mode of goodness than you are. You know, they're more shanti, or they're more sense controlled. And so that may be true due to past karma, past samskars. Some people they're a little more controlled or disciplined. But mode of goodness, of course, in and of itself is not complete. But it's good for us because we're devotees, and so we engage it in Krishna service. Because a lot of the mode of goodness is basically the same as Krishna consciousness. But if you're not a devotee, then it's just the mode of goodness. It's like, okay, it's closer to Krishna. But if you're not going towards Krishna, then it doesn't matter that you're closer. Right? So that's the idea. Okay. I have another file I'll read from it. It has some verses about Brahmins. Here in this purport, Prabhupada's equating Brahmins and devotees and Brahmins, it's the same. So it's interesting. Sometimes Prabhupada does that. A devotee of Lord Krishna is a perfect Brahmin. His situation is transcendental, for he is freed from the 4 defects of conditional life. Music in the background. A perfect Vaishnava or Krishna conscious person is always in the transcendental position. He speaks according to Krishna and is representative. Vaishnavas speak exactly according to the tune of Krishna. Whatever they say is free from 4 defects. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says everyone should think of him, become his devotee, offer obeisances, and worship him. And ultimately, everyone should surrender. These devotional activities are transcendental and free from mistakes, illusion, cheating, and imperfection. Therefore, anyone who is a sincere devotee of Lord Krishna and who preaches this cult, speaking only on the basis of Krishna's instructions, is understood to be virajam, or free from the defects of material contamination. A genuine Brahmin or Vaishnava, so Prabhupada's equating Brahmin or Vaishnava, therefore depends eternally on the conclusion of the Vedas, or Vedic versions, presented by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only from the Vedic knowledge can we understand the actual position of the Absolute Truth, who is described in Bhagavatam. He is manifest as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. This knowledge is perfect from time immemorial, and the Brahminical or Vaishnava culture depends on this principle. So here Prabhupada saying, Vaishnava culture and Brahminical culture, it's basically the same thing. And this question comes up, and I touched on it last time. Well, let's say you're not initiated as a Brahmin. So does that mean you don't have to partake in Brahminical culture. No, but that's the culture we live in the Krishna conscious movement. So then Prem Kishore is saying, do we transcend our varnas? Yes and no. Because we're coming from the modes of passion, therefore the Brahman varna is good for us. And if you're transcendental, yeah, devotional service is transcendental, but we're not transcendental. So we act within this Brahminical culture. It's natural. It's natural for us to act that way. And anyway, we have so much service, whatever. What happens if I don't want to become a Brahmin? You don't want to become a Brahmin? You want to be a Kshatriya? She wants to be a Kshatriya. That's the problem. Yeah. Well, Eddie, you'll have to wait till we have Kshatriyas. And we have Kshatriyas. Eddie is a woman, Eddie Lucio. She's going to join the army, right? You know, there are many, many Jewish girls in America, and they go to Israel to join the Israeli army because they want to fight for the Jews. So they have that nature. So you can become, Eddie, you can become a strong Brahmin with Kshatriya tendencies. So you can become a bold preacher. Your weapon will be your words, and your words will kill Maya and the lives of so many people. Now, Prabhupada wanted us all to be Brahmins. He wanted us to develop attraction for Brahminical culture. So that's, like we were in another city, and one of the devotees was saying, well, I like rap music. So we were talking about music and different modes. So naturally, if you're in a certain mode, certain music is attractive. And so everything Krishna is transcendental. So, like we once had this amazing experience. This devotee and I, we used to preach together in Los Angeles, and one of the things we would do is if we met people, we would make appointments and we would go to their homes. Teach them how to cook, create personal relationships, and sometimes do kirtan. They would invite their friends. So this one devotee's sister lived in an area we were preaching, and he didn't live in that area, but he asked if we would see her. She had some interest in Krishna consciousness, and she was a heavy smoker. We could see she was either smoking when we were there, and we saw the cigarettes. Anyway, we took prasadam, and when we gave her the halava, everybody likes halava, right? It's everyone's favorite, halava. And she took one bite of halava, and she said, "Ooh, this is horrible." So we understand, because we're vegetarian, that if you have a certain consciousness, vegetarian food tastes good. If you have a certain consciousness, meat tastes good. Right? So that's the idea, that we become attracted to what's more Brahminical, more sattvic. And it's just harder for us if we're attracted to things which are more passionate. So everything has quality to it. And so anyway, it's a general idea. So, Eddie, you have to be a warrior in goodness and only do good. Like they say, martial artists, the martial artist's first line of defense is to talk. Mm-hmm. Talk the person out of fighting. Mm-hmm. Right? Not to just fight. Mm-hmm. But kids on the street, they won't talk, they'll fight. Because they're in the mode of ignorance. And as you know, I always say that if you're becoming a devotee,